Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. My name is Paul Sanneman, and I'm your host. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. I have Trevor Maddux today with me from MotionOps. And so, Trevor, tell me the backstory of how you started MotionOps and the whole why it got created.
Yeah, it's a great question, Paul, and thanks for having me. Yeah, as far as it goes with MotionOps, I built it because we were building and still are building a handyman remodeling company. And, I've historically built other companies in the past. If you've heard of Vivint, I had recruited a sales org of 3,000 people there. And, I got in the handyman remodeling space and I want to go scale and go build something big and impactful. And I very quickly looked at all the software in the space and identified there was a big issue that the software was going to be a very big breaking point for my ability to go scale a business. And so I actually started building software initially for my own company. The company's name is Cranston Handyman Remodeling. And we started building software for our company first. We did that for a few years. And then the guy that oversaw the dev team we were working with pulls me aside. His name's Nikla, and he's like, Trevor, have you ever asked yourself, is it just you or the whole industry that could benefit from the software? And I kind of got frustrated at first. I was like, man, I should have asked this question a few years ago. But now that you're asking that, like, let me make some calls. So I called about 20 other people I knew in the business that were running service companies. And when I called them, I just asked them simply, what are you doing, for your processes right now? What CRMs are you using? Are you happy with them? If it's missing anything, what's it missing? And it is about hour-long conversations with all of them. And come to find out, most people were pretty frustrated with what was out there. And at that point, we just decided to create a completely separate company, MotionOps. And that was a couple of years ago. And we've just been building ever since. So
what specific frustrations did you have in the other software that MotionOps has solved?
there's actually quite a few. I would say the first issue that I saw is there's a lack of scalability out of most software solutions out there. When we're using third-party solutions, not our own, we probably broke about 3 of them. Literally crashed their systems, getting calls from their engineers saying, hey, like, our system can't keep up with this anymore. We got to delete your profiles. Like, it was a mess. So a huge lack of scalability. If you look at scheduling for most CRMs, it's usually like the Google Calendar view. Once you hit about 8 or 10 people, it just breaks the whole system. You can't really manage schedules anymore. So we fixed that with MotionOps. We actually have very clear-cut scheduling, managing by service area and grades. You could literally manage up to 300 people's schedules in one place, not have an issue.
Well, I have a hard time visualizing how you can look at, I mean, I can't look at, I have like 10 schedules on mine. I hate to manage them all. So
Yep.
you possibly look at 300 schedules and understand what's going on?
It's a good question. So it's filters, right? So you can filter down based on what you want to look at. And again, Google Calendar views, it gets really crowded. We've actually got individual names and then their calendars, going out a few weeks right next to their names. So it's a lot easier to see what's happening. So you go look down this way versus a crowded Google Calendar view. And then, like I said, you can filter. So if you manage a multiple service areas, so we're here in Utah, usually most companies that operate in Utah, it's a Wasatch Front, they'll do it by north and south. Because guys down south that want to go up north, guys up north that want to go down south, guys south or north will go to the center. And every market's a little different, but you can filter based on service area. So maybe you have 50 people, but now it goes down to 20 when you filter down to service area. And then we also filter based on skills and grades. So if you're running a remodeling company, it's like, hey, I don't need to see all my guys. I just need to see my guys that can paint or just my guys that can do flooring. And now it filters down to just a few people. There's other ways you can filter down. You can filter down based on like working crews. Hey, show me just my crews that do this trade or whatever. There's ways to filter down even more. And so it's one, the way it's displayed, but then also the filters to filter to see the specific stuff that you want to see that's pertinent to the job you want to schedule for.
So you said this also works for remodeling contractors, just not service business like roofers and plumbers and those kinds of people?
It works for service and remodeling. So
okay,
we do both. Yeah, the one space that we're not super well built for right now, we still do have them using it because they like it so much. We're not super well built for like new home builders or like large commercial contractors right now, but we still do have a few using it because what we've built is just so user friendly. They're like, hey, the few features you're missing, like we'll just kind of work around it in the meantime, So
Okay. So now, so explain some other features. So that's the scheduling. Let's talk about finance. How
Okay.
does it integrate with, I mean, most software integrate with QuickBooks or, some accounting software,
Yep.
and there's some kind of API that ties it together and that kind of thing. So how does yours operate financially?
That's a good question. So from a financial standpoint, you mentioned QuickBooks. We are currently building out a QuickBooks integration right now. That'll be done sometime beginning to middle-ish of November. So that's getting done. We got a lot of clients that have their tax season coming up. They just want to,
Right.
correct all the books by then. So that'll be done pretty quickly. And so that'll just be a direct API integration with QuickBooks. Another financial product that we have is we also do have integrated payments. And so you're able to invoice out and then collect a credit card, ACH, or you could just mark it down as a, collected a check or cash transaction. So
that you're not using a third-party vendor like PayPal or Stripe, you're just doing your own thing?
yeah, we built our own payment rails. That's correct. So.
Okay. So how do your payment rails vary from let's PayPal, for example. A lot of people have issues with PayPal because it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, or Stripe. How is yours better and different?
It's just a smoother process. I mean, payments in my mind, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a few things you can do better, right? So I would say it's a smoother experience. PayPal, I don't know what they charge, but I know QuickBooks, I think PayPal's in the threes. QuickBooks is like 3.4%, right? And so we're just 2.9%. And then we also do offer an ability to charge a service fee. And so you can basically pass on a 3% service fee to your clients to go ahead and cover the cost of, that credit card transaction. So those are a few things that are unique and different that a lot of our clients really like, just to make it simple and easy for them to get paid by their clients.
So now one of the issues with some of the bigger companies like PayPal and stuff is customer service, because they're so big, they, you call them and who knows, they're going to get a phone answer. So how is your customer support?
So G2, that's like a big software rating agency. They rated us top in the industry, Q1 of 2024. So really good, really easy to go ahead and actually get a hold of, talk to us. If you need help, need support, we're willing to do what we need to make sure it's a smooth process to learn the system, integrate the system, get set up, get your people on board and trained, everything else. So.
Okay. And so now what is your onboarding process?
It's a good question. So there's a few ways that people, find out about us, hear about us, and actually get started. Some people go through like an actual demo, and then we get them signed up, after we do the demo. Some people will actually just self-onboard or self-sign up. We do have a self-sign up process as well, too. Once that happens, we usually work to set up a follow-up onboarding call where we schedule and we'll sit down for anywhere from half an hour to an hour after someone's been in there, making sure they get their full account set up. And then at that point, it's crazy, but most people have it figured out. Our system, Paul, is probably the most intuitive software that people have found. Like it makes sense and it's easy. So some people need more training, and we'll just keep doing as many sessions as we need to until we get them fully trained, their people fully trained, their people over. And sometimes I'll go on for another month to month and a half, just depending on how much extra training they need. Some people after that first call have all their questions asked and then they're good to go and might just message us from time to time for extra follow-up questions. But I would say our onboarding is probably the quickest I've seen out of everyone. And it's mainly because our developers have done such a good job of developing and building a software that's very intuitive and easy for people to understand, which in my experience is key in launching a software, deploying a software in construction, because often the biggest impediment is actually getting the guys in the field to understand the software, use the software, and not get confused by it or anything else.
Right. So I'm one of these guys is paranoid of transition. They're like, I want to move you from Google to 365. And I go, no. It's sort of paranoia of change. And I think contractors have this, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I can see some guys listening to this podcast and going, well, what I have is not that great, but the idea of changing it sounds like a nightmare because every time my phone updates, it takes me 6 months to figure it out, right? So if everybody's got some kind of system, I'm sure, whether it's, manual or whatever, how does it transition work? Because I know if I was a contractor looking at adopting a new software, the idea of going from what I've got to something new is really scary, especially for the guys in the field. They just learned this and then got another
Yep.
one. And the office, it's like, you know, in a sense, contractors are a bit Luddites when it comes to accepting, you know, like technology and software. So how do you handle, oh my God, it took us 5 months or a year, 3 years to learn the one we've got. You want to do another one?
That's a great question. So the answer to that, Paul, is it probably just depends as far as the stage and size of the company, right? Like a new up and coming company, there's not much of a transition. They're probably looking for something for their first time. It's plug and play. It's easy. They just upload their current clients and just go, right?
Right.
Or even a smaller business. But you know, you start hitting a company of 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. It's been around for a few years. They're going to have client databases. They're going to have to migrate stuff over and everything else. So we're happy to help. You know, sometimes we'll be able to have developers come help import in data and make sure that we get that brought in. We've been starting to build out a bunch of like API keys where we can do calls based on, you know, the major platforms that are out there. So if someone's using something else like Job or House Call Pro, we've usually already built something where it's like we can pull in the data very easily, you know, once they give us access to their system. And so that's fairly, it's getting fairly automated as we bring over more clients from other competitors. It's going to become more automated, faster, and easier for our clients to switch over. Now that's the actual physical process of migration. The other process though is just retraining and getting the
Right.
team, you know, bought into it. And so we're very upfront with our clients about that. Usually we'll have some sort of discussion about, hey, this is going to be a migration. It's probably going to suck for like 2 weeks, maybe 3, but after
Mhm.
that, you're going to love it. Right. And most people see it. And once they see the vision and see kind of just the simplification and how we're really helping, you know, it's more than worth it. And, you know, I guess I'm just going to circle back to your other question because this will help solidify why people are willing to go through the 2 to 3 weeks of painfulness. For me, it's always a rainbow at the other side. And what I mean by that, so I brought up scheduling. The other things that people really love is we've built a fairly robust platform where it is your best shot to have a true all-in-one solution. Now, in my experience, many contractors, especially if they have 10 or more people, are using 5 to 7 different softwares to run their business, 4 to 7 different softwares. And it
Right.
is painful when I talk to them, like, man, my head's hurting just thinking about it. And that's why we built it, is we hated that we had to run in so many different software solutions. We may not right now be able to get rid of all the other softwares they're doing, but we can usually get rid of at least 3 or 4 of them. So we're helping them condense down software. So there's savings there, right? And there's also less complexity, less redundancy, less loss of data in all these different systems, less potential errors in data entry and other crap that happens. And so, yeah, most people are willing to go ahead and deal with that, knowing they're going to save on that. And then the other thing, too, that I would say a lot of people really like about our solution that's quite a bit different is we've built the full-blown documentation process of construction inside of the software itself, from contract signing to change orders to pro waiver signing to final walkthrough and invoice sign-offs. That's all documented and signatures and everything inside of there, which, yeah, I mean, most times when I look at other software, no one really has it. Like your only option if you're a contractor is use a CRM, and then you're going to have to go like pen and paper signature
Well, you
contractors or
know, that
DocuSign the
brings
hell
up a
out of your
good point,
customers.
Trevor, because you know, the other side is going, well, you know, HubSpot's the best at CRM, you know, book QuickBooks, and everybody says you can't be good at everything. You've heard that
Yeah.
100, right?
Yep.
And so HubSpot or one of the CRM programs, or you look at your project management system is going to suck at CRM because that's not what it's built for.
Yep.
So what is because I obviously lead gen and following leads and the CRM is important in service business, you know, speed lead and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So you mentioned HubSpot. HubSpot, I would say, does a fantastic job when it comes to anything marketing related, some of the sales related stuff as well too, but they don't really exist in the project management space, right? Or
Right.
digital paperwork space. So right now, where we're at as of today, Paul, and we're an ever evolving company building more and more features. But right now, I would say anything project management, digital paperwork, from the moment that you want to send out a proposal, sign the deal, and complete the project and see that project all the way through and invoice out the client, that whole cycle is what we own. We are okay at like the lead management stuff, but we'll be very good at it probably in the next, I would say, 3 to 4 months. We're going to release a lot of features that'll really help us compete on that side. But as of now, it's just not our forte. But eventually here soon, we're going to have that. Like we're releasing Zapier integrations, and we'll do a bunch with like lead management. And there's some stuff we're going to release that will be game changing that no one's really doing. People aren't even aware of some of the things that we're doing right now. And I haven't seen it anywhere else, but I'm actually really excited for it. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it because it gets me excited thinking.
Let me just about that, because there's a lot of AI coming up, right?
Yeah, there is.
You literally, AI, calls the person and says, hi, sets the appointment. It's amazing. I've got one company where they do roofing, and literally they've got a picture of every house on the planet, at least the United States and Canada.
Yep.
And when the person calls in, they'll give an estimate in 30 seconds. Has a picture of a house, does all kind of, it's amazing stuff, right?
Yeah.
So AI is definitely changing the whole CRM space, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I guess the question would be, did you get any of that? I mean, because the whole thing is how do you find a lead, track a lead, get back to the lead, time to follow, all that kind of stuff is crucial, and people are getting better and better at it.
Oh yeah.
So how do you integrate with HubSpot? You're building, competing product. How are you going to do that? Because I think it's critical in home services, especially finding, tracking, and that whole sales side of the cycle.
Yeah, 100%. So on AI specifically, we actually do have a few people on our team that are very well versed in AI. Some of the top developers in AI in their respective countries. And so that being said, we are going to release one of our first AI features before the end of the year. It's going to be more around like optimizing schedules as you start booking jobs and scheduling jobs, but there's going to be more coming with AI. You mentioned a lot of the interesting things that eventually we'll get into, which is automating a lot of the sales and marketing processes and customer support processes. To me, that's just a really interesting aspect of the space. Now, we will get to that. We're not there right now, but I feel like a lot of that is very game-changing stuff. As far as integrating in with HubSpot, once we launch the Zapier integration, we will be able to pull and push data from HubSpot. So the beautiful thing, once we build the Zapier integration, is we can tie into almost any of these other CRMs or systems. Right. So it's like a build for one platform, but then ties us into many. But then we will build a lot of that functionality too. So our clients wouldn't necessarily have to pay for HubSpot and also us, if that makes any sense. But if they are married to HubSpot and then want to use us for all their project management, digital paperwork, fulfillment, they can do that. But yeah, I mean, hopefully answers your questions as far as integrations and HubSpot.
So what other gaps we've got the scheduling gap, we've got the signing documents gap, we've got what about like follow-up, service, warranty, that whole, keep a customer for life, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, service and warranty work, we do have ways to kind of track that right now. So it's inside of the work order itself, it can be displayed as open or closed. And so you can actually track anything that you need to follow up with or make sure that you go back to go do warranty work for it, because you leave it as an open work order. And so as long as it's open, as a business owner, you have to follow up with that project until it's completely closed out. And so that's how we track it. That's how we can, have our clients track it and everything else. But for us, that was a big one as well, just being able to keep track of it that way. So
people that have changed from whatever they've got to you, what is their, oh my God, this is so much easier and whatever it is. What feedback do you get from your clients on what kind of a game changer it was for them compared to their old software?
That's a great question. So a lot of people are switching. The feedback that we get is, wow, this is so much easier, so much simpler than anything that they'd ever had before. Wow, I'm switching and I can dump all these other software solutions. Wow, I'm switching and I can finally get contract signing done with my clients because it's all built in there, right?
People can sign contracts on an iPad or whatever on the spot.
Yeah, on the spot. Like literally you can be on your phone. So we're a mobile friendly solution too. I mean, so a lot of our competitors, you got to be from a desktop to do half the features. You can do everything that we have from your phone. So you could be there in front of a client, put together a proposal, send it out to them while you're there, and then have them sign, and you can sign right there on your phone while you're there in front of them. And so a lot of these little things that we do just really enable for a smooth transaction. And so, yeah, I mean, overall, I would just say ease of use, simplicity, just it's a lot more user-friendly. If you look at the architecture of a lot of our competitors, a lot of this stuff was built like 15, 20 years ago. And so a lot of it kind of feels like it's like the old school version of like Microsoft Windows or like DOS, whereas our stuff, it's new, it's simple. They call it UI UX. So the design of it is just very sleek. It just makes sense. And so, a lot of business owners feel relieved because they're like, yeah, I can give this to my guys. They get it. They understand it. They know how to use it. And really, like, that's the biggest feedback that we get. And, it's funny, but like we're very proactive as a company when we release features or, when like just really reaching out with our clients as well too and saying, hey, what do you like? What do you not like? And, one client that has used our stuff for a while now, we had a pretty long conversation like, hey, if you could change anything about it, what would you change? They're like, nothing. There's nothing else you want? No, we're good. And we literally had another client sign up that he runs a remodeling company. Usually does like 5 or 6 projects at a time. And it was so funny. Like we're talking with him and we're like, so what do you think? And his answer was, Trevor, like, I literally have been dreaming for years of having a software that could do half of what you just showed me right now. He's like, yeah, just sign me up. So those are the responses we get.
Do you have any geo tracking in your system at all?
Geo tracking or geo, sorry, I'm not sure if I followed the question.
You know where the guy is, you know where your service guy is by looking on, his phone tells you where and that kind of stuff. So you can find your guys and know whether, send this guy here, send this guy here, because this is where this guy is and that where that guy is.
Yeah. So we got a few features for that right now. So we do have a feature where when they clock in, clock out, we do time tracking too. They clock in, clock out, it'll geostamp and timestamp where they're doing that from. And then also the geo tracking. So that's a filter. So there's some things that like not a lot of people that do software for the space have. So we can manage skills and grades, and we can also manage service areas. So again, like you can basically say these guys will manage this section of town, and you only assign those guys to jobs in that section of town. Okay, so that goes into service areas. And so like literally, like, I mean, I think of like, let's think of Denver, for example, right? So Denver, usually most cities that operate services there, they're going to do it north and south. South guys hate going north, north guys hate going south. And so you can assign all the jobs and all the north guys there and all the south guys here. And so we do have that feature. Now, as far as continual GPS tracking, that is not a feature that we have right now, but that will be a release that will come out down the road. That's another thing that our clients like. We have a very dynamic platform. Most of our competitors, Paul, are very lucky to go release like 2 new upgrades per year. We're doing like 2 per month right now. So our clients get excited seeing all the new releases coming out.
Okay, and one final question. What about what the supplies that are needed for the job? I mean, let's say, is there anything on your software that says, okay, when you get to this job, you're going to need, whatever, this amount of supplies, these kind of orders. Does it track any kind of that at all, like what you're going to need to get the job?
Yeah, so we have a whole work order project management system. Anytime that a proposal gets accepted, it gets converted over to a work order or project to manage. And so in there's actually a view, and then there's notes and details with everything. So you can actually upload PDFs. So you can have a PDF that you upload with all the materials that need to be there, spec sheets, or even design and plans that will be there. So the guys, when they log into their phone, they'll be able to see and access everything on that project. When they're out there, they can actually take photos from their phone, upload it to the software. People pay for this crazy software called Company Cam. And like my mind is blown because one of the main reasons people pay for it is because it's one of the only softwares where you can actually take a photo, upload it directly to the software, and it doesn't get downloaded to guys' phones. It sounds crazy, but guys complain about that all the time. Our software is one of the only other ones as well like that, where you can actually take a photo, uploads directly to the software without it having to go to the phone. And then not only that, but we also can manage materials. And so when we do materials, if a guy needs to go purchase materials, he can take a photo with his phone. It'll get uploaded with the receipt as a material, and then they'll get allocated to the job. So the owner can go in there and calculate out how much money they made or lost on that project. So from the back office, you can see, before photos, after photos, progress photos, notes. You can get signatures from the customers, and then also just being able to track all those materials as well too, all in one centralized place.
So
So
you
it makes
know whether you're
things,
making or losing money on the jobs almost in real time.
yeah, you can see how much money you're making or losing. Plus all the timesheets are allocated to that job too. So you can see how much you're paying in labor and everything else. So it's a beautiful
Great.
thing.
Trevor, what does this cost and how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as far as getting in touch with us, it's super simple. You can go to the website, motionops.com. On there, you can sign up for a free trial if you want. It's 14 days risk-free. Or you can actually schedule a demo. And, myself, one of the other guys that works with us, we're happy to hop on a demo and show you kind of how it works and what we're doing. Now, as far as cost goes, it's super simple. Our pricing will be changing a little bit here shortly, but right now it's still a pretty good deal. So a lot of companies will charge like a base fee and then they charge more per user after that. And then for more features, you pay more. Right now, we're just doing $29 per user per month. We'll probably increase it a little bit here shortly, but nothing crazy. So it's a very affordable solution, especially when you factor like how much money you're getting back just in saving on your materials,
Right.
your time tracking, digital paperwork.
Probably saving another software because things like HubSpot aren't cheap.
Oh yeah, I mean literally, like if you're to look at all the software solutions we replace, because we do your HR, we do your time tracking, we do your digital paperwork, we do so many other things, right? We do your scheduling, we do your project management, we even do like your HR and managing your licenses for like subs and stuff like that.
Right.
If you're to add it all up, we come up with a number of roughly, between $150, $200 per person per month, and we're just charging $29. It's
Right.
kind of a no-brainer when you look at everything we're replacing. So.
Good. So if they're interested, they gotta go to motionop.com, right?
Yeah, motionops.com. Check it out. Fill out a form, schedule a demo. We'd be happy to chat. You can track me down on LinkedIn too. Shoot me a message. We're happy to chat that way as well. It's just Trevor Maddux. So
Sounds good, Trevor. Appreciate you being here. It's a lot of good information. And if you are not excited about your software, this is a good one to look into.
yeah, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show, man. Really appreciate it.